Good afternoon, students. Good morning, students. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the live virtual classes organized by the Board of Studies Academic ICAI CA Foundation course for Paper 3 Quantitative Aptitude. Myself, Dr. N.V. Ravi, along with me, CA Arijit Chakravarti, sir. Welcome to the today's section, sir. Today's topic is correlation and regression, which is the part of the foundation course, and very interesting topic, and very easy to understand also be, and very interesting, and it is very helpful for the not only for the subject point of view here in the future also be research and further forecasting of the even like weather forecasting or the production or the output or what is the changes in the prices also, quantity demand and quantity prices are also be using the regression techniques are also be, and when we want to compare between the variables are also correlation also be helpful very much. What is the degree of relationship between the two variables, whether the positive or the negative or no correlation also be. And from this topic, we can expect from the examination point of view, 5 to 6 questions are coming from this chapter. Don't leave it. It is a very interesting. We want to hear from the CA Arijit Chakravarti, sir. It's a very interesting, sir, from your mouth and from your lovely voice. And you are a very experienced teacher, and from the you are a dynamic teacher also be. And I know further, we welcome you, sir, for this interesting topic of the correlation regression also.
Okay, sir.
Over to you, sir, Arjit ji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So good morning to Ravi, sir, and all the students. Welcome to the LVC. Sir has already guided you and briefed you about the topic. It is a very interesting topic, easy to understand, as well as a number of questions. Sir has mentioned 5 to 6 questions can be expected from this chapter, and therefore please go through the detailed video and the discussions we are going to have. Parallelly, as Sir mentioned, that this particular chapter has a lot of significance in practical life, especially in your career, in your future career as a chartered accountant. Correlation, regression, ये जो दो concepts आपको अभी जानने को मिलेगा, ये इसका practical significance is huge क्योंकि demand, supply, production. Okay, even if you talk about the relation between, say, advertisement expenses and revenue, ठीक है, revenue के साथ cost of production. So जितने variable हम लोग सोच सकते हैं, ultimately these variables will be linked, and as sir also mentioned that the intention, correlation regression का क्या intention है, what is the objective? Objective है कि looking at the mathematical relation between two variables can we predict, can we forecast? So looking at the last 5 years relation between, say, cost and revenue, or maybe revenue and profit, can we predict कि अगले साल क्या profit होने वाला है? So even in the field of artificial intelligence and data science, this chapter has a lot of significance. So once again, welcome to all of you, and this is chapter 17 we are taking up. So आज का जो flow है discussion, we are first covering correlation, the meaning and concept. जैसा sir ने आप लोगों को brief किया कि there are two parts in this chapter. First part is the correlation, उसके बाद हम लोग जाएंगे regression. और सबसे पहले we will look at correlation क्या है, इसका concept, the types of correlation. There can be in general positive correlation, there can be negative correlation, even there can be zero correlation. So हम लोग simple example के द्वारा जानने की कोशिश करेंगे how the different types of correlation, what types of correlation are there, and we will use some very simple practical examples. इसके बाद chapter 17 का जो next step रहेगा, there we will discuss the measures. Correlation क्या है, correlation कितने तरह का होता है. इसके बाद हम लोग आगे बढ़ेंगे, we will understand how to compute, how to calculate correlation. So in chapter 17, if you see, correlation coefficient there is a particular term which we use जिसे हम लोग कहते हैं correlation coefficient. So इसका two types of coefficients are there for the exam. First we have the Carl Pearson's product moment correlation and we will cover that in detail. इसके बाद हम लोग जाएंगे Spearman's rank correlation coefficient. So there are two major types of correlation coefficient. The third one we have is CCD, yani coefficient of concurrent deviation. So these three formula, we will see how the formula is used and through number of examples from the study material, from the exercises, and after that we will go to the second part of today morning session, जो कि regression. So correlation actually tries to find out the relation between two variable. Regression is the next step, यानी उसका जो आगे का step है. So if we know the relation between two variable and we know the type of relation, is it positive correlation या negative correlation, यहां से regression में हम लोग देखेंगे how we can predict the value of the dependent variable. So regression is an equation और इसमें हम लोग दो तरह का हम लोग regression line draw करेंगे and we will see the important very few 2 or 3 very simple formula are there in the regression chapter and इसके बाद हम लोग exercises में जाएंगे. I hope to cover almost 20-25 questions from the exercises and then we will take some questions from the revisional test paper, the mock test paper, that is RTP and MTP, and one or two queries which have just come from some of our students on this particular chapter, especially one question on very interesting question one of our student has sent. This is on rank correlation coefficient. So वो हम लोग solve करेंगे and as sir mentioned 5 to 6 questions. ये चैप्टर को अवश्य ध्यानपूर्वक पढ़िए, अध्ययन करिए और इसमें जितना भी questions है, some of the questions, some of them may be theoretical questions, also practical questions. So please do not exclude any part of this chapter. This is my request. आपसे मेरा विनती रहेगा कि please cover the full chapter, including the mathematical part, formula और जो theoretical technical principle है उसको भी ध्यानपूर्वक पढ़िए. So if you see this particular chapter on the right hand side, I have drawn a small graphical presentation and here you can see that in case of correlation regression हम लोग टाइप्स ऑफ कोरिलेशन देखिए, पॉजिटिव हो सकता है, नेगेटिव हो सकता है और कोरिलेशन को कंप्यूट डिटरमाइन करने के लिए वी हैव 3 बेसिक मेथड्स आउट ऑफ व्हिच 2 आर formula, like we have the Carl Pearson's product moment correlation coefficient and Spearman's rank correlation coefficient. और इसके बाद हम लोग देखेंगे regression analysis. So this is the diagrammatic presentation of this particular chapter 17. So आगे बढ़ेंगे. First we will see what is correlation and regression. So correlation, as we were discussing, दो variable के बीच what can be the link. For example, say very simple, height of a person and the person's weight. यानी उसका कद क्या है, what is the height and what is the उसका वजन क्या है. So relation. Is there a positive relation between height and weight? So simple example of 2 variables. Similarly, in the context of business, you know in economics, you are aware about demand, supply, production, price. We know that normally demand, supply, they have a relation between each other. As demand increases, there will be an impact on the price. कोई भी commodity का अगर demand बढ़ जाए, उसका price पे एक change होगा. There will be a particular change in price. So हम लोग कह सकते हैं कि demand और price they are related. Co-relation में देखिए, co-relation में जो word छुपा हुआ है वो है relation, relative, related. So 2 variables may have a mathematical relation between them जो हम लोग determine करेंगे through this particular formula of correlation coefficient. Dear students, this chapter, as Dr. Ravi sir mentioned, is used extensively in today's world of data analytics, and in your future studies in CA, you will find that even in the world of financial management, even in economics, you will have relationship between two variables. So predictive analytics इसके साथ साथ decision making, कोई भी management का financial decision making, production related decision making, in these areas correlation regression is used in a variety of ways and means. So we can say कि correlation regression is ultimately helping in decision making with more accuracy, और इस पर्टिकुलर जो टूल हम लोग कहते हैं आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस का कोई भी टूल में आप देखेंगे जो हम लोग प्रेडिक्टिव एनालिटिक्स करते हैं, वी ट्राई टू प्रेडिक्ट द वैल्यू of a variable in future. So that entire, if you look at the algorithm, अगर हम लोग mathematical backend में जाके if you look at the exact program, the coding, you will find it uses correlation regression. इसीलिए AI का जो भी basic course अगर आप उसका अगर आप review करें, if you see, you will definitely find this correlation regression concept, which is the starting point of decision making and AI. So therefore, correlation we can see deals with the relationship. So whether there is a relationship between two variables, and regression finds out how well is a certain independent variable, how can we predict based on the independent variable, how can we predict a dependent variable. So this is basically the relation or the concept of correlation and regression. Now we look at another part of our the component of our chapter 17, univariate and bivariate data. Univariate क्या है? Normally demand. So if you look at the study material 17.2, statistical measure relating to univariate distribution means one variable. The word uni means one, ek. So when we have one variable like height or weight or profit or wages, इसे हम लोग कहेंगे univariate distribution. For example, the sales of last 12 months, the sales figure of a company for the last 12 months. Similarly, we have multivariate या फिर we will talk about bivariate distribution. Bivariate क्या है? When data is collected simultaneously, एक पर्टिकुलर पीरियड के लिए, मान लीजिए हाफ ईयर या फिर एक क्वार्टर 3 महीने के लिए या फिर पूरी साल के लिए, इट इज फॉर द फुल ईयर 12 months, when data is collected on two variables simultaneously, this data will be known as bivariate data, and the frequency distribution जो हम लोग उससे बनाएंगे उसको हम लोग कहेंगे bivariate frequency distribution. A simple example, X and Y denoting the marks in mathematics and statistics for say a group of say 30 students. So the corresponding bivariate data will be student wise what is the marks in mathematics जो हम लोग X के द्वारा दिखाएंगे, और statistics में इसका नंबर क्या है जो हम लोग Y की तरह दिखाएंगे. यानी हर स्टूडेंट के लिए there are two data, X denoting the score in mathematics and Y which will denote the score in statistics. So we are using bivariate distribution. यानी for all the 30 students, roll 1 से लेके roll 30 तक, we are going to get two data, two scores for every student. So in this way we can create a bivariate frequency distribution. Now we look at the study material to see correlation regression concept more. We'll look at the technical part. So correlation regression essentially क्या है? Analysis, and we are doing the analysis from bivariate or a multivariate distribution जहां पे दो या फिर more than one variable, definitely. So two and more variables will be there. So if there are two variables, we will basically call it a bivariate distribution. हम लोगों का जो सिलेबस है चैप्टर 17 in our paper on quantitative aptitude, we are going to deal exclusively with bivariate distribution. So only two data, right? For every particular parameter, for every particular member, we will have two data, right? Now we come to correlation. So correlation is trying to find out the degree of association or the relationship between two variables. Now, two variables may be related positively. That means X and Y, there can be a positive correlation. For example, X जब बढ़ेगा, Y भी बढ़ जाएगा. So, for example, in general, we can say if the production increases, revenue will also increase in general. Similarly, if production falls, revenue will also fall. If the cost of fuel, now you can see due to the West Asia crisis, the war in Iran, you can see for the last few months, the price of crude has been increasing. Now, crude or oil, or when you talk of petrol, diesel, LPG, these are inputs. So if the cost of input increases, the production cost will increase. Yani, cost of fuel or production cost, these are related in a positive manner. So हम लोग कह सकते हैं कि there is a positive correlation between them. Similarly, there can be negative correlation. For example, you know that as the demand increases, कोई भी commodity के लिए in general, आम तौर पे जब demand बढ़ता है, price क्या होता है? Price usually falls when demand increases. So therefore, what happens is, you know, because when we know that when the say for example when we talk of economics theory part, now you know that many of these are related. So there can be a positive correlation, there can be negative correlation. Similarly, in case of stock market, now it might happen that increase in the price of a particular stock, increase in the price of a particular stock, it might happen if the Sensex goes up, the price of the stock also goes up. So यहाँ पे भी हम लोग कह सकते हैं कि there can be some sort of positive correlation. Correlation coefficient is trying to find out what is the usual relationship between these two variables X and Y and कहाँ तक correlation है और ये correlation positive है या negative है. So correlation is a statistical measure जो कि दो वेरिएबल के बीच क्या रिलेशन है उसको आइडेंटिफाई करने का कोशिश कर रहा है. What is the purpose? It helps to find out whether there is a relationship between two variables, demand supply. It can be supply and price, demand price. It can be between revenue and profit. It can be the relationship between marketing expenses, promotion expenses, advertisement cost, and the sales revenue. And correlation analysis helps us to find out the association. Extent of correlation, as we saw, it can be positive correlation या फिर negative correlation. Correlation coefficient in our exercise for our syllabus, we have the product moment correlation coefficient. इसके साथ है rank correlation coefficient और तीसरा जो है वो है coefficient of concurrent deviations. Three very simple formula and that will be enough, that will be sufficient for understanding correlation. So far as our curriculum is concerned. Regression, on the other hand, is prediction. Correlation is finding out the degree of association between two variables, whereas regression is focused कि हम लोग dependent variable जो है, we have a dependent variable, we have independent variable. So we are trying to find out that if, say for example, if we know the revenue, what can be the possible amount of profit? That means here the independent variable is the revenue or revenue के ऊपर profit depend कर रहा है. So we can say that profit is the dependent variable. So intention regression analysis का objective क्या है कि हम लोग dependent variable, I repeat, dependent variable का जो value है उसको predict या उसको forecast करना. That is the objective of regression analysis. And the measures of correlation, as we saw, major areas will be the Carl Pearson's product moment correlation coefficient, Spearman's का दूसरा जो है rank correlation coefficient and coefficient of concurrent deviations. Now we will first look at the correlation analysis, जहां पे हम लोग पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव कोरिलेशन हम लोग उसका एग्जांपल्स देखेंगे एंड वी विल सी द ग्राफिकल प्रेजेंटेशन. स्कैटर डायग्राम के द्वारा हम लोग कोशिश करेंगे टू अंडरस्टैंड हाउ पॉजिटिव कोरिलेशन लुक्स ऑन अ ग्राफ, नेगेटिव कोरिलेशन कैसे दिखता है ऑन अ ग्राफ. सो पॉजिटिव कोरिलेशन मीन्स अगर दो वेरिएबल इफ दे मूव इन द सेम डायरेक्शन, that means if x increases, y also increases. Same direction. If x reduces, y also reduces. That means दोनों का movement is positive, क्योंकि जब एक वैल्यू जब x बढ़ जाता है, y भी बढ़ जाता है. On the other hand, if x increases and y decreases, यानी opposite movement, then we will say there is a negative correlation. So if two variables move in the same direction, that means an increase in one variable results in an increase in the other variable, or the decrease in one variable results in the decrease in the other variable. X decrease हो रहा है, y भी decrease हो रहा है. So movement is in the same direction. Similarly, if x increases, y is also increasing. So in this case, we will say it is a case of positive correlation. Negative correlation. So first example of positive correlation. In general, we are saying height and weight. Normally height for a person, if the height increases, a taller person, normally the weight will also increase. So in general, we can say height and weight have a positive correlation. Now rainfall and yield. बरसात जितना ज्यादा होगा, आमतौर पे देखा गया है that agricultural production, yield, productivity will increase. Similarly, profit and investment. You are all aware about a particular ratio which we calculate in accounting, return on investment. So, investment जितना ज्यादा होता है, normally देखा गया है the profit also moves in the same direction. More the investment is, in general, more is the profit. So they may have a positive correlation. In general, of course, there will be exceptions. Now, if two variables move in the opposite direction, so ये हम लोग डिस्कस कर रहे थे पॉजिटिव कोरिलेशन. अभी हम लोग देखेंगे नेगेटिव कोरिलेशन क्या है. नेगेटिव कोरिलेशन मीन्स दैट इफ वन वेरिएबल इंक्रीजेस, दूसरा वेरिएबल डिक्रीज करेगा. दैट इज नेगेटिव कोरिलेशन. एक सिंपल एग्जांपल, रियल लाइफ एग्जांपल. अगर मैं ज्यादा सोशल मीडिया पे टाइम वेस्ट करूंगा, दैट मींस द एवरेज टाइम आई एम वेस्टिंग इन सोशल मीडिया पर डे, एवरेज टाइम in social media I am wasting, whatever time I'm I'm consuming, normally the score in my exam will have opposite relation. That means जितना ज्यादा मैं सोशल मीडिया में टाइम बिताऊंगा, मेरा एग्जाम का स्कोर ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन में जाने का संभावना है. दैट मींस द मोर टाइम आई वेस्ट और आई कंज्यूम, आई ईट अप इन सोशल मीडिया, अनप्रोडक्टिव डिस्कशंस एंड ऑल, उतना मेरा स्कोर घटने का चांस है. अनदर एग्जांपल, जितना हम लोग का एंजाइटी बढ़ता है, उतना एग्जाम परफॉर्मेंस समटाइम्स इट मूव्स इन द ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन. सो दिस इज बेसिकली व्हाट वी कॉल द नेगेटिव कोरिलेशन. One question has come, what is mathematical relationship? Mathematical relationship आप सोचिए, जो simple हम लोग देखेंगे, say y equal to a plus bx. So this question has come from Vijwal Arora. So y equal to a plus bx. If you write this equation, y equal to a plus bx, here for a particular value, a and b both are constants. So maybe a has a value, say a is 0.5 and b is 3. These are constants. ये change नहीं होगा. X is a variable. X मान लीजिए is, we are calling X the independent variable. So X का जो भी value है, if you know the value of X and you already know the value of A and B, आप automatically Y का value आप निकाल सकते हो. So this equation Y equal to A plus BX is a linear equation. ये एक straight line का equation है. So X और Y के बीच एक relationship है, and this is an example of mathematical relationship. which visual was asking. Second question visual was asking is causation का मतलब क्या है? Study material में एक word है causation. Causation means the reason या फिर cause. दोनों variable में जो relation है, say height or weight. Now there are certain causes or linkages due to which height or weight they have interrelationship. So causation also means the reason or the underlying causes. We will see this in through examples also. So now we move on. Positive correlation, negative correlation के बाद हम लोग देखेंगे. So normally the profits of insurance company and the number of claims are examples of variables which might have a negative correlation. Okay. Now we come to so there can be a third scenario. मान लीजिए जिसे हम लोग कहेंगे कि uncorrelated. What is uncorrelated? Uncorrelated means दोनों variable, if the movement in one variable does not produce any movement in the other variable in a particular direction, then we will call it uncorrelated. Example from the study material अगर देखा जाए shoe size and intelligence. अब किसी का intelligence quotient और उनका height या फिर उनका shoes का जो size है, whether size 7, 8, 9 or 10, will have no association, it will have no link, it will have no correlation. So for a human being, the height of the person and his or her intelligence, there is no relation. यानी there is no causation. इसमें कोई underlying cause नहीं है through which we can connect these two things. But height and weight, yes, there is some interrelation. How many hours you are studying for your foundation exam and your score, normally you will find a positive correlation. More we study, more we practice, more we solve numericals from the study material, MTP, RTP, in general, our score will be more. So I can take this example, appropriate example, कि हम लोगों का जो study hours per day है, we are all preparing for the exam. So exam के लिए हम लोग जितना systematically पढ़ेंगे और जितना hours हम लोग devote करेंगे पढ़ाई के पीछे, number of hours, say it is X, and your score in the exam is Y. So you can understand X जैसे बढ़ता जाएगा, यानी आप जितने और मेहनत करेंगे और ज्यादा लंबे समय के लिए प्रैक्टिस करेंगे, प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करेंगे, वीडियोस देखेंगे, ICAI का जो वीडियोस है, ये जो LVC का वीडियोस देखेंगे, क्वेश्चंस एनालाइज करेंगे, यानी जितना टाइम आप इन्वेस्ट करेंगे उतना ही ज्यादा आपका स्कोर या आपका मार्क्स का संभावना है. So we can say if X denotes the number of hours of study and Y denotes the score, it will have a positive correlation. It will have some link between. Yani there is a causation. Causation means if someone asks you why you have got, how you have got so much of marks, the cause is what? Is because you have put in, maybe you are studying 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours per day. So there is a cause and effect. Causation means cause and effect. Okay, so this is what is the basic concept of correlation. Positive हो सकता है, negative हो सकता है, uncorrelated भी हो सकता है. Now positive correlation and negative correlation we have seen. कहीं पे अगर आपको questions मिल जाए, you can find out two variable. There may be some correlation, यानी there may be some interlinking. There may be some causation if both the variables move in the same direction. That means अगर X increase होता है, Y भी साथ साथ it is increasing in a particular proportion, then we will say positive correlation. अगर X decrease हो रहा है, Y increase हो रहा है, that means यहाँ पे opposite direction में movement है, so ये negative correlation. Zero correlation, no relationship. That means यहाँ पे कोई causation नहीं है, there is no underlying cause. Example, height or intelligence. The taller you are, ये जरूरी नहीं है that you will become more intelligent. And the shorter you are less intelligent. इस तरह का logic नहीं हो सकता. So there may not be any underlying correlation between height, किसी का height shown by X and the person's intelligence shown by Y. So this relationship does not exist, yani zero correlation. Now the last two types, perfect correlation. Perfect correlation means when the correlation coefficient is 1. That means if X increases by 20%, Y increases exactly by 20%. If X reduces by 15%, Y also reduces by 15%. That means यहाँ पे movement same direction में हो रहा है. दूसरी चीज है X में जितना परसेंटेज इंक्रीज या डिक्रीज हो रहा है Y में भी उतना ही परसेंटेज इंक्रीज और डिक्रीज या डिक्रीज हो रहा है. That means X and Y are moving together. You see my hands moving up and down in the same manner. Perfect correlation. Yani +1. Correlation coefficient is +1. Moving in the same proportion. Moving up, moving down. Second example, perfect negative correlation. That means correlation coefficient is -1. That means if X moves up by 20%, Y moves down by 20%. So this time the direction is opposite. So X increase कर रहा है, Y reduce कर रहा है in the same proportion. Okay. Positive correlation is this. Perfect positive correlation. X or Y एक साथ. It is moving up and down. If X increases, Y increases, same proportion. But negative, perfect negative correlation is when X moves up by 15% or say 10%, Y moves down by 10%. If X moves down by 30%, Y moves up by 30%. So this is example of ये जो मेरा hand का movement देखिए opposite. मेरा दो जो fingers, if you see of my both hands, they are moving in the opposite direction. Okay. It's like a motion, specific motion, but in the opposite direction. This is negative correlation. Now, therefore, further examples, cost of goods sold and sales, positive correlation. Price and quantity demanded might have a negative correlation. Okay, so positive, negative we have seen. More examples, weight and blood pressure. There may be some correlation. Height और weight के बीच जरूर कोई ना कोई relationship है. Number of hours of study and exam marks. I was discussing this. जितना लंबे समय के लिए पढ़ाई करते हो, practice करते हो, of course, it should be hard work, it should be smart work, objective analysis, but definitely the number of hours of study will decide your exam performance as well. Advertisement expenses and revenue. Real life example, practical world से हम लोग example cite कर रहे हैं. So advertisement expenses incurred by a company usually is positively correlated with revenue. यानी advertisement expenses जितना ज़्यादा होगा, more expenses for advertisement, for brand promotion means higher sales. So a positive correlation. Next one, sales and provision for doubtful debt. Now all of you have studied about accounting standards. You know AS9, revenue recognition. You are also aware about accounting standard on provision. So if you think accounting standard 29 issued by ICAI, so it is concerned with provision, doubtful debts. Okay, so you contingencies, contingent liabilities and so on. So if you see sales jitna badhega, provision for doubtful debt also will increase in a particular proportion as per a particular relation. यानी सेल्स और प्रोविजन के बीच कुछ ना कुछ संबंध है. कोरिलेशन मीन्स संबंध, रिलेशनशिप, एसोसिएशन, कनेक्टिविटी. So sales or provision for doubtful debt, you will find some correlation. Next example, age of car and reliability. आपका गाड़ी हो या टू व्हीलर हो, फोर व्हीलर हो, उसका जितना एज बढ़ता जाएगा, यानी जितना गाड़ी आपका पुराना होता जाएगा, उसका रिलायबिलिटी फैक्टर उतना ही कम होता जाएगा. यानी as the age goes up, see my left finger, fingers of my left hand, as the age, this is age, as the age increases, ऊपर की तरफ, the reliability will go down. गाड़ी का reliability is going down. as the age increases, गाड़ी जितना पुराना हो रहा है, यानी यूजफुल लाइफ जितना ज्यादा आप यूज कर रहे हैं, उतना ही गाड़ी का रिलायबिलिटी फैक्टर उतना रिड्यूस करेगा. So they are moving in the opposite direction. So we can say age of the car and the reliability, they have a inverse relationship या फिर negative correlation. The other example, social media screen time and exam grade. So इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि this law is always going to be correct for everyone, but in general, see, statistics is not an exact science. We are dealing with more or less maybe a 90%, 94%, 95% confidence limit. There might be some exceptions, but it will be very minute. Okay, capital investment. आपका एक बिजनेस का इन्वेस्टमेंट जितना ज्यादा है, उसका प्रॉफिट भी उतना, it will move in the same direction. More the investment, more will be the profit and vice versa. Now हम लोग देखेंगे scattered diagram. So we are on slide number 10 and we are checking the correlation coefficient through what you can see here is we are now checking this through the scattered diagram concept. यहां पे आप देख सकते हैं x और y दो एक्सिस है. It is a bivariate distribution क्योंकि आप देख सकते हैं कि here we have in the x axis जो कि horizontal axis हम लोग कहते हैं, वहां पे क्लास 12 स्टूडेंट्स का हम लोग वेट हम लोग प्लॉट कर रहे हैं कि वजन कितना है. y axis यानी वर्टिकल एक्सिस में हम लोग हाइट को हम लोग दर्शाने का कोशिश कर रहे हैं. वी आर शोइंग द हाइट इन द y axis and the weight in the x axis. If you see, ये जो डॉट्स आप देख रहे हैं, these are the observation. That means यहाँ पे 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 around 15 students, उनका हाइट और वेट we are trying to plot. It is a bivariate data. हम लोग थोड़े देर पहले डिस्कस कर रहे थे यूनिवेरिएट बाइवेरिएट. सो यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं फॉर एवरी स्टूडेंट, वो स्टूडेंट का हाइट और वेट दोनों का हम लोग plotting we are doing in a graph where x-axis यानी horizontal axis shows the weight and y-axis यानी vertical axis is giving you the height. अब ये height और weight में अगर आप देखेंगे the dots, these are if you see close to each other. So approximately we can say correlation coefficient is positive. That means जितना हाइट बढ़ रहा है उतना ही वेट बढ़ रहा है. So we can say a positive correlation coefficient 0.5 approximately, but it is positive plus 0.5. This is the first example. Next example, please see slide on this slide. यहाँ पे as we have discussed, correlation क्या है? It is the degree of relation between two variables. Our chapter 17 deals only with linear association, यानी straight line. Mathematical association, Visual was asking, I was explaining that कि यहाँ पे mathematical association means, मैं एक example लिया था, y equal to say a plus bx or ax plus b. So here we can say that y is having a linear straight line relation with x. Here x is the independent variable, y is the dependent variable. दोनों में एक linear relation है. In this case, if you see the height and weight plotting जो हुआ है, you can see जो dots आप देख सकते हो, the dots, these are much closer to each other. इसमें ज्यादा distance नहीं है. But ये ग्राफ किस तरफ गया है? From the left hand lower side to the right hand upper side. Please see the graph. एक straight line की तरह move कर रहा है from the left lower side to the right side up. Left lower side to the upper right side. This is the positive. This is the graphical presentation of positive correlation. So this graph approximately can be said to be a positive correlation around plus 0.8. That means काफी अच्छा correlation. अगर ये +1 होता, that means perfect correlation, perfect positive correlation, +1. Now you see the next example, shoe size or weight. यहाँ पे x axis में हम लोग weight दिखा रहे हैं, weight of a student, and in the y-axis, yani in the vertical axis, we are showing the shoe size. So we can see that as weight increases, more or less the shoe size also increases. लेकिन यहाँ पे, if you look at the scatter graph, you can see the dots. छोटा छोटा circle में हम लोग दिखाए हैं. They are having definitely a positive correlation because most of the dots, if you see, these are scattered on both the sides of the straight line. लेकिन यहाँ पे approximate correlation coefficient we can say around plus 0.4. So it is a moderate positive correlation. ज़्यादा high नहीं है, it's a moderate. Now we come to negative correlation. Please see the type of the graph here. Normally we say जब कोई चीज का, कोई भी commodity का जब price बढ़ जाता है, in general उसका demand decreases in general. Of course there will be certain commodities जो कि मान लीजिए which may not show this particular property. अब कुछ चीज ऐसे है कि we use it for daily necessity, but leaving aside daily necessities, 80%, 90% of the commodities which we use or which we come across in daily life, the economics principle is very simple, that normally as the price increases, the demand will fall. So in this graph you can see on the x-axis, यानी जो horizontal axis है, उसमें demand दिखाया गया है, and on the vertical axis you can see the price. अगर आप गौर से देखेंगे, ये जो straight line गया है, it is showing the price and the demand for each of the commodity. अगर आप देखेंगे यहाँ पे, the graph starts from the left hand upper side and goes down towards the right hand lower side. यानी बाएं तरफ, it is going from the top part of the left hand side, it is going towards the right hand lower quadrant, lower side. So this shows it is a negative correlation. That means if you see जैसे जैसे price घटता जा रहा है, वैसे वैसे demand is increasing. That means it is an inverse relation. Inverse relation. You know, we always in mathematics, ratio proportion, we used to say directly proportional, inversely proportional. Directly proportional means positive correlation. Inversely proportional means negative correlation. Clear? So I hope you were able to follow and you were able to understand. Now we can see the next example. मैंने हर तरह का practical example यहाँ पे in the presentation we have included. Casual WhatsApp chat per week and the exam score. So it can have moderate negative correlation. That means जितना ज़्यादा हम लोग unproductive या casual WhatsApp chat करेंगे, उतना हम लोगों का marks exam score may decrease. So you can see here it's an inverse relationship, inversely proportional, negative correlation. The approximate value of the negative correlation is around minus 0.8. Now we see the last example where if you see in this slide, we are on slide number 15 now, you can see that in this slide, very simple, height and IQ. We are trying to find out whether there is any causation, yani whether there is any association between height of a person and the person's intelligence. So किसी का height और उस particular शख्स का IQ, intelligence quotient, क्या ये दोनों variable में कोई संबंध है? That is the question. Now, going by the statistical analysis, here you can see R equal to 0. That means correlation coefficient is 0. यानी height और IQ के बीच कोई भी mathematical संबंध नहीं है. They don't have any linear relation. This is an example of no correlation. Okay. So therefore, on the right hand side, you can see the important analysis जो हम लोग अभी तक कर रहे थे, that if the correlation coefficient is -1, that means it shows perfectly negative correlation, but it's a linear relationship. just like probability. You have already done probability. Probability is always going to have a value which lies between 0 and 1. Okay, in this example, positive correlation, agar positive correlation hai, then the value, the minimum value could be 0. That means no linear relationship, and the maximum could be +1. And if there is, say, if you talk about negative correlation, there, in case of negative correlation, the maximum value of negative correlation can be -1. यानी correlation coefficient अगर देखा जाए, इसका value will range from -1 to +1. So this is the degree of correlation we have completed. अभी हम लोग देखेंगे scatter diagram we have already seen. अभी हम लोग देखेंगे 3 very simple formula जो आप थोड़ा सा अगर मन लगा के अगर आप इसको प्रैक्टिस करेंगे, याद रखेंगे, जैसा सर बता रहे थे 5 से 6 क्वेश्चंस एग्जाम में आने का संभावना है. So you will score really well whatever type of questions might come on this chapter. So here we will look at 3 simple formula to find out the correlation coefficient. First one is Carl Pearson's product moment correlation coefficient. इसके बाद हम लोग देखेंगे Spearman's rank correlation, and then we will see the coefficient of concurrent deviation. Scatter diagram अभी हम लोग देख रहे थे. It is nothing but a diagrammatic presentation. That means graphically x-axis, y-axis, if we do the plotting, that gives rise to a scatter diagram. जैसा अभी हम लोग लास्ट 5 स्लाइड में देख रहे थे, positive correlation through a graph, negative correlation through a graph, perfect positive correlation through another graph, and we saw perfect negative correlation through another example graphically. So scatter diagram can distinguish between different types of correlation. Scatter diagram में अगर आप देखते हो that the line moves up from the left hand lower side to the right hand upper side, इसका मतलब क्या है? That means the two variables have positive correlation. जैसा हम लोग देख रहे थे कि height and weight. अगर देखा जाए कि the graph is from the left hand upper side slowly going down towards the right hand lower side, that means ये जो graph है, if you look at the scatter diagram, आपको पता लग जाएगा कि यहां पे एक negative correlation दिखाया गया. So scatter diagram definitely helps us to understand graphically, visually. एक visual means है. Visually आपको समझ में आ जाएगा कि दोनों वेरिएबल में क्या कोई संबंध है. अगर संबंध है, क्या ये पॉजिटिव है या फिर क्या ये नेगेटिव है. So scatter graph is able to give you the idea of the type of correlation, positive या negative. लेकिन scatter graph से exact value of the correlation coefficient निकलना मुश्किल है. So for finding out the exact value of the degree of correlation, we have to use the 3 formula. Formula number 1 will be the Carl Pearson's product moment correlation coefficient. Next one will be the rank correlation coefficient of Spearman, जिसे हम लोग RCC कहते हैं, rank correlation coefficient. और तीसरा है coefficient of concurrent deviation यानी CCD. सबसे पहले we will now see the formula. Okay, so Carl Pearson's का जो product moment correlation है, ये बहुत ही simple formula है, because the formula if you see is covariance of x and y divided by sigma x into sigma y. That means the product moment correlation is equal to the covariability of the two variable x and y. ये न्यूमरेटर में आएगा. डिनोमिनेटर में क्या आएगा? डिनोमिनेटर में आएगा सिग्मा x into sigma y, यानी स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन ऑफ x मल्टीप्लाइड बाय द स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन ऑफ y. ये है आपका कार्ल पियर्सन्स प्रोडक्ट मोमेंट कोरिलेशन. इसका मतलब है, फर्स्ट, in order to find out the value of product moment correlation, पहले आपको दो वेरिएबल जो x और y, उसका मीन निकालना है, उसका डेविएशन निकालना है, और उसके बाद we have to find out the standard deviation, yani sigma. And then we will apply this simple formula. Product moment correlation ka और एक the formula is same. Covariance between x and y in the numerator divided by sigma x multiplied by sigma y. लेकिन इसको और simple form में दिखाने के लिए the formula, the single formula you can see on this slide, n into sigma xy minus sigma x into sigma y. इसके नीचे आपको standard deviation का formula apply करना होगा, multiplied, that means standard deviation of x multiplied by standard deviation of y. We will see some example. One more formula, please remember, काफी बार exam में question आता है. What is coefficient of determination? Coefficient of determination is the square of the correlation coefficient. So correlation coefficient we are showing as R. Coefficient of determination is equal to R square. So please remember coefficient of determination also. Coming to properties of correlation, इस पे काफी बार questions आया है. So we know that the coefficient of correlation will be unit free. It can be +7, it can be minus 0.6, it can be +1, it can be -1, it can be 0.25. So इसमें कोई यूनिट नहीं रहेगा, यानी ये यूनिट फ्री है. It is like a ratio. It is as good as a ratio. A ratio has no unit. ना तो रेशियो के बाद हम लोग केजी लगाते हैं, ना तो सेंटीमीटर लगाते हैं, ना तो मीटर, ना तो लीटर. So there is no unit. First point. Second important, if you see the second important point is coefficient of correlation remains invariant under a change of origin. इसका मतलब है x और y, उसको अगर हम लोग थोड़ा सा उसमें अगर कोई मैथमेटिकल ट्रीटमेंट हम लोग करेंगे by including a change of origin and scale, यानी x और y, we are creating two separate set of variables u and v such that u equal to x minus a by b and v equal to y minus c by d. In that case, the correlation coefficient of xy will be equal to basically the correlation coefficient of uv, but यहाँ पे एक sign का एक change होगा. That means if b and d have opposite, signs, then rxy will be equal to minus ruv. That means correlation coefficient between x and y will be equal to minus the correlation coefficient between uv. That means rxy equal to minus ruv. यहाँ पे एक sign change हो जाएगा. But if b and d both have the same sign, that means both are positive या फिर both are negative, in that case there will be no difference between rxy and ruv, yani correlation coefficient between x and y and the correlation coefficient between u and v will be the same if b and d have the same signs. Okay, ये formula जो है, Ayush has said that how can we remember the formula. So this is just covariance, COV xy divided by sigma x sigma y. And आप कोई भी formula मैथमेटिक्स हो या स्टेटिस्टिक्स में, more than memorizing, जितना आप लोग प्रैक्टिस करेंगे, जितना आप लोग मैथमेटिकल प्रॉब्लम्स ICAI का जो LVC हम लोग कर रहे हैं, the videos, you can see we are trying to cover as many questions as possible from the study material. We are using our MTP questions from the ICAI website, RTP questions, past year exam questions. So जितना हम लोग questions practice करेंगे, उतना ही आप लोगों का memory, you will unconsciously remember the formula. So only practice. That is the only way. So पहली बार आप जब ये problem solve करेंगे, आप formula देख के solve करिए. You look at the formula, write down the formula and then put the value. Do it for a couple of times. After that, you will understand that you are able to remember the formula. And this is how, with more practice, comes perfection. Okay, now we now move to the examples. So first example from study material, we are looking at 17.2. So we are on slide number 21. So we are looking at 4 examples. Then we will go to the Spearman's rank correlation coefficient. So इसमें हम लोग देख सकते हैं कि we have to find out the correlation coefficient. N is given, sigma xy दिया हुआ है, sigma x square is given, sigma y square is given. So as we know, the formula is covariance xy divided by sigma x, sigma y. The other form of the formula, the other representation is n into sigma xy. Okay. And you can see what we have done here is we have n into sigma xy minus sigma x into sigma y. ये आपका numerator में जा रहा है. And denominator में we are finding out the standard deviation of x and y. So from this given formula, if you put the value, so n is 10. n का value क्या है 10. Sigma xy का क्या value है 220, 220. Then you can see, so we have put n into sigma xy minus sigma x into sigma y. Sigma x का value है 40, sigma y का value है 50. So we have put n into sigma xy minus sigma x into sigma y. ये न्यूमरेटर में है, डिनोमिनेटर में आप केवल standard deviation निकाल रहे हैं, both for x and y. So we are using this given formula and we are just putting the values of n plus we are using the values of sigma x square जो कि 200 है and sigma y square which is 262, and we are getting a correlation coefficient of 0.91. 0.91 means positive correlation, substantial or strong correlation in the positive direction. So this shows a positive correlation of a high value. Example 2, if you see from the study material, a sample of 6 children selected, एक bivariate distribution आप देख सकते हैं, age दिया हुआ है और weight भी दिया है. Similarly, it's a bivariate distribution, यानी for every child, यहाँ पे 6 children का example लिया गया. So there are 6 children here, and for every child, we can see one of the columns shows the age in terms of years, which can be considered as the first variable. उसके बाद weight दिया हुआ है, which gives you the second variable. Okay. So once you go through, this is a bivariate. यहाँ पे every student, every child के लिए 2 डेटा दिया हुआ है, यानी ये एक bivariate data analysis हम लोग कर रहे हैं. It's like a bivariate distribution. So if you look at the formula, I'll just go back to the last slide. Someone was asking me to just requesting for the last slide. Yes. Purvi was asking, yes. So yeah, this is the last slide. Purvi, yes. Okay. Now if you see in this particular example, so we are putting the same formula here, and by using the same formula, you can see x दिया हुआ है, y दिया हुआ है, आपको क्या निकालना है. So this is a complete example. Okay. So just for understanding, analysis के लिए, concept बनाने के लिए ये example study material से मैंने यहाँ पे दिखाया. So आप देख सकते हो कि x is years, y ये table पे आप ध्यान दीजिए, x is the years, age, उम्र, y is the weight. So हम लोग क्या डेटा निकाल रहे हैं? We are trying to find out the correlation coefficient. So हम लोग x, y का प्रोडक्ट निकालेंगे. Sigma xy you can see, आप देख सकते हो. सबसे पहले देखिए sigma x we have found out, यानी कॉलम नंबर 1 का टोटल अगर आप करेंगे, you are getting sigma x. So it is 41. Sigma y, that means the total of the weights, we are getting 66. अभी क्या है xy, क्योंकि हम लोगों को कोवेरिएंस निकालना है. सो xy का प्रोडक्ट. सो हर बच्चे का, हर चाइल्ड का, we are finding out the product. Like 7 into 12 is 84. If you see child number 3, the third child, age is 8, weight is 12. So 12 into 8 is 96. इस तरह से हम लोग xy निकालेंगे और sigma xy निकाल रहे हैं. It comes to 461. Now we will find out standard deviation के लिए, you know, we have to find out x square and then sigma x square. So we have found out the sigma x square, which comes to 291, and then sigma y square, which works out to 742. Putting all this formula in the values in the given formula, we are getting the value of correlation coefficient plus 0.759. Yani it is almost equal to 0.76. It shows a high degree of what type of correlation? Positive or negative? It is a positive correlation. यानी एज के साथ साथ वेट बढ़ेगा एंड उसका कोरिलेशन का अमाउंट या क्वांटिटी कितना है 0.76 यानी 75% चांस यू कैन से 75% एक कॉजल रिलेशनशिप है. Okay, so this is the concept of correlation coefficient. Yani Spear, we are looking at the Carl Pearson's moment correlation. अच्छा, okay, 6 का divide क्यों किया इसमें? Purvi is asking 6 का 6 is number of children. यहाँ पे देखिए serial number सबसे पहले बाएं तरफ जो कॉलम उसमें आप देखिए यहाँ पे 6 students, sorry 6 children यानी n equal to 6. कोरिलेशन कोएफिशिएंट का जो फॉर्मूला डिनोमिनेटर में अगर आप देखेंगे स्टैंडर्ड डिवीएशन का जो फॉर्मूला है यू नो दैट इट इज बेसिकली सिग्मा एक्स स्क्वायर माइनस सिग्मा एक्स स्क्वायर बाय n. सो n इज द डिनोमिनेटर व्हेन वी आर फाइंडिंग आउट द स्टैंडर्ड डिवीएशन, इसीलिए इट हैज बीन डिवाइडेड बाय 6. सेम थिंग इन द न्यूमरेटर बिकॉज द फॉर्मूला सेज दैट वी हैव टू फाइंड आउट सिग्मा xy माइनस सिग्मा x इनटू सिग्मा y डिवाइडेड बाय n. ठीक है, that is why we are dividing by 6. Fine. Now we will look at the next case. Okay, ये जो था हम लोग का U और V यानी जहां पे हम लोग शिफ्ट ऑफ बेस हम लोग कर रहे थे. So this is example 17.8 from the study material. So if you see यहां पे exactly हम लोग जब देख रहे थे कि RXY यानी x और y के बीच का जो कोरिलेशन कोएफिशिएंट, u और v के बीच का जो कोरिलेशन कोएफिशिएंट, इट विल बी सेम प्रोवाइडेड b एंड d आर ऑफ द सेम साइन. लेकिन अगर b और d में कोई भी डिफरेंस हो गया, दैट मींस इफ दे हैव ऑपोजिट साइंस, मान लीजिए b इज पॉजिटिव, d इज नेगेटिव और वाइस वर्सा, देन कोरिलेशन कोएफिशिएंट बिटवीन x एंड y and correlation coefficient between u and v will have opposite signs. So if you just follow the study material and the discussions and the explanation in this slide, you will find that in the first case यहाँ पे 4 scenario दिया हुआ है. We have to find out the correlation coefficient between u and v. So we can see the relationship, and accordingly in the case of number 1 you can see that u is coming to -2 plus -3 by 2 by x और v का भी हम लोग देख सकते हैं. So we can see since b is -3 by 2 and d is -4 यानी दोनों का साइन सेम है, दोनों नेगेटिव है. So in this case we can see that correlation coefficient between x and y will be exactly equal to the correlation coefficient between u and v, क्योंकि b और d दोनों का साइन सेम है, दोनों का नेगेटिव साइन है. ये हो गया एग्जांपल नंबर 1, that is 17.8 केस नंबर 1. If you look at let us see case number 3 and 4. केस नंबर 2 में देखिए, केस नंबर 2 में भी we can see that in case number 2 we can see that b is 3 by 2 यानी b is पॉजिटिव 3 by 2. b के सामने एक प्लस साइन है, लेकिन d में देखिए d is -4 यानी ऑपोजिट साइन. b हैज अ पॉजिटिव साइन, d हैज अ नेगेटिव साइन. इसका मतलब यह है कि कोरिलेशन कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ uv will be minus correlation coefficient between x and y. So this is the formula, this is the logic which we need to understand and remember. Now we move to the last one, or the second last one I'll say, Spearman's rank correlation coefficient. बहुत ही ये और भी simple formula है. Here the formula is 1 minus 6 into sigma di square divided by n cube minus n. So where you can see the formula where d is the difference of rank between paired items. So मान लीजिए 2 judges are ranking, 5 students है, there are 5 students and 2 judges are ranking them based on performance in a music competition, मान लीजिए. So judge number 1 gives a rank to the 5 students. Maybe student number 1 gets 3rd rank, student number 2 gets 4th rank, student number 3 gets 1st rank, and so on. Second judge also gives a set of ranks. अब दोनों judges का जो rank है, for each student, the difference of the rank, that is considered for calculation of D square. So Spearman's rank correlation coefficient is very similar to the product moment correlation because इसका maximum value can be +1 and the minimum value can be -1. यानी जो range हम लोग कहते हैं correlation coefficient, the highest value is +1 and the lowest value is -1. So the range varies between -1 and +1. So this is correlation coefficient. But the second formula, Spearman's rank correlation coefficient, once again you can see the formula 1 minus 6 into sigma di square divided by n into n square minus 1. This is the formula. So let us see how to use the formula. Okay. So ये है formula. I think it is even simpler than product moment correlation. Okay. So here let us see the formula. How we are applying? Example we have taken is 17.9 from the ICAI study material on chapter 17, 17.9. यहां पे जो दिया हुआ है देखिए, sales, एक कंपनी का sales दिया हुआ है for say certain months, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 8 महीने का sales दिया हुआ है और उसी 8 महीने का advertisement पे कितना खर्चा हुआ. So example, if you see advertisement पे जब 7,000 रुपए लगाया गया, sales is coming to 90,000. If you go to the 4th month, you will find 4th month 1, 2, 3, 4. So चौथे महीने में क्या है? Advertisement expense is 3,000, but the revenue comes to 75,000. So first we are using the Spearman's rank correlation coefficient to find out whether there is any sambandh, whether there is any association, whether there is any type of relationship between sales and advertisement. That means एक कंपनी का promotion के पीछे या advertisement के पीछे कितना खर्चा हो रहा है, is it having a positive relation or a positive link with the revenue, with the sales? ये है हम लोगों का objective. So now we are trying to see how we are going to use the rank correlation coefficient. So what we are doing here, let us go to the next slide. You can see we have written all the sales, which is XI, all the sales, 8 महीने का sales, 90, 85, 68, total 8 महीने का sale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Advertisement we have also, advertisement का जो value जो कि Y है, so ये भी एक bivariate distribution आप कह सकते हो, because for every month we are documenting, we are considering 2 types of value. One is X, the other is Y. X क्या है? X है उस महीने का सेल फिगर. Y क्या है? Y है उस महीने का एडवर्टाइजमेंट के पीछे कितना खर्चा हुआ है. दोनों खर्चे जो है X और Y दोनों को हम लोग 1,000 रुपीस दिखा रहे हैं for our example. So now for advertisement, what we are doing, we are finding out the rank. So rank बना दिया. For example, advertisement में अगर आप देखेंगे, the highest advertisement cost is 8,000, जो कि month number 7 में हुआ है. इसीलिए rank for this 8 is 1, first rank. So we are using the ranking from highest to lowest. Similarly, you can see the second rank goes to the advertisement cost for the first month, which is 7,007. So in this way, we are finding out the rank for, first we are doing the rank for XI. First we are doing the rank for XI and then the rank for Y. So like we see that the highest sales we can see is in the 7th month, which is 95. Accordingly, the rank for 95 corresponding to 95, आप देखिए rank number 1 दिया है. So rank for sales XI is 1. 7th month में if you see advertisement कितना हुआ है, advertisement है 8,000. यानी 7th month 7वां महीने में सेल भी मैक्सिमम है, एडवर्टाइजमेंट का खर्चा भी मैक्सिमम है. So you can see we are having rank for sale XI first rank 1, rank for advertisement YI is also 1. इस तरह से we are giving the rank and then we are finding the next column DI, which is the difference between these two ranks. For example, first महीने का दोनों का रैंक 2 है, यानी सेल्स का भी रैंक 2 है, एडवर्टाइजमेंट का भी रैंक 2 है. इसका मतलब है DI इक्वल टू 0 माइनस 0 विच इज 0. सो लास्ट कॉलम पे अगर आप देखेंगे DI स्क्वायर, 0 का स्क्वायर क्या है, 0 है. सो फर्स्ट मंथ दिस इज व्हाट वी हैव डन. सेकेंड मंथ जहां पे सेल है 85 रुपीज, एडवर्टाइजमेंट का खर्चा है 6 रुपीज मान लीजिए. सो सेल्स का रैंक हो रहा है 3rd, एडवर्टाइजमेंट का भी रैंक हो रहा है 3rd, यानी यहां पे भी difference between the two ranks, that is DI, comes to 0. Looking at the 3rd month, तीसरा महीना, यहां पे सेल्स का रैंक is 8th rank, 68 सेल हुआ है, और एडवर्टाइजमेंट का रैंक है 7. So अभी डिफरेंस क्या है between the two ranks? 8 minus 7, that is 1. 1 square comes to 1. इन दिस वे हर महीने का हम लोग रैंकिंग कर रहे हैं, बोथ इन टर्म्स ऑफ सेल्स एंड एडवर्टाइजमेंट एक्सपेंसेस. दोनों रैंक का जो अंतर, जो डिफरेंस है, हम लोग निकालेंगे, विच इज शोन बाय DI. उसके बाद हम लोग उस डिफरेंस का स्क्वायर निकाल रहे हैं, जो कि लास्ट कॉलम में दिया है. वी आर फाइंडिंग आउट DI स्क्वायर. फाइनली इफ यू सी फ्रॉम दिस पर्टिकुलर calculation, and we know here the number of month is 8, n equal to 8. In this example, if you see, sigma DI square comes to 4. So therefore the rank correlation coefficient comes to 0.95, which shows what is the judgment, what is the decision you are arriving. आपका conclusion क्या है from this example? Conclusion ये है कि according to the facts we have been able to find out, there is a high positive value of rank correlation. That means there is a very good amount of agreement between sales and advertisement. इसका मतलब है इस कंपनी में जितना ज्यादा एडवर्टाइजमेंट का खर्चा होगा, जितना ज्यादा इन्वेस्टमेंट एडवर्टाइजमेंट ब्रांड प्रमोशन में किया जाएगा, उतना ज्यादा सेल्स कंपनी अचीव करेगा. यानी एडवर्टाइजमेंट का खर्चा और सेल्स में ऑलमोस्ट अमाउंट इज 0.95, यानी ऑलमोस्ट 1. 0.95 मीन्स व्हाट? 95%. यानी 95% कनेक्टिविटी, 95% लेवल ऑफ एसोसिएशन बिटवीन सेल्स एंड एडवर्टाइजमेंट कॉस्ट. सो बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग, जैसे रवि सर बता रहे थे इन द बिगिनिंग, दिस चैप्टर सिंस आवर स्टूडेंट डेज, at least for me, this has been one of my most favorite chapter in statistics in QA, and it is indeed a very interesting exercise, and it gives you a precise level of, you are getting a precise value of the correlation. So this is rank correlation. Last one we see is concurrent deviation, or concurrent deviation mein basically the formula is plus minus square root of 2c minus m by n. This is from the study material section 17.13. Concurrent deviation क्या है, हम लोग through an example we will see. This is the third example and third formula, and questions also come from this particular formula. Let us take the example of 17.15 from the study material, ICAI study material, chapter 17. So this is for the purpose of concept. Okay. कि फॉर्मूला तो दिया है, लेकिन फॉर्मूला कैसे हम लोग अप्लाई करेंगे, उसके लिए वी आर एनालाइजिंग. जैसा मैं अभी थोड़ी देर पहले रैंक कोरिलेशन एनालाइज कर रहा था थ्रू द केस स्टडी. ये भी एक केस स्टडी है. यहां पे आप देख सकते हैं कि प्राइस और डिमांड दिया हुआ है. 1990 से 97 तक, सो वी हैव 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 8 साल का कोई भी कमोडिटी का प्राइस और उसका डिमांड दिया हुआ है. We are trying to find out the coefficient of concurrent deviations. So what we have done, if you see 1990 में देखिए, price is 25. Price का कॉलम देखिए, second column 1990 price is 25. 91 में क्या हुआ, प्राइस बढ़ गया, 28 हो गया उस पर्टिकुलर कमोडिटी का. अभी थर्ड कॉलम में देखिए concurrent deviation. Deviation means what? Deviation means whether there is a change in the sign, whether it's increasing or decreasing. So इसमें देखिए 1991, just beside that we have 28, क्योंकि 28 is the price in 1991. लेकिन उसके बाद देखिए एक प्लस साइन दिया हुआ है. इसका मतलब ये है कि 1990 से 91 the price has increased, प्लस साइन. 1992 में देखिए the price has become 30. That means 91 में 28 था, 1991 में 28 था प्राइस, 92 में प्राइस हो गया 30, यानी फिर से प्लस साइन, प्राइस बढ़ गया. बट इन 1993 गौर करिए, प्राइस गिर गया और बन गया 23. सो नाउ वी हैव अ माइनस साइन. इस तरह से ये जो तीसरा कॉलम आप देख रहे हैं, द थर्ड कॉलम, एक्चुअली इन केस ऑफ कॉन्करेंट डेविएशन वी आर फाइंडिंग आउट कि डेविएशन अगर हो रहा है, we are finding the deviation. Very interesting. Please listen very carefully. The deviation we are trying to analyze both for x and y. यानी दो वेरिएबल जो दिया हुआ है. ये जो एग्जाम्पल, this example is also bivariate example, bivariate distribution, bivariate data. क्यों? क्योंकि हर साल के लिए we are getting two figures, x and y. x is price, y is demand. So यहां पे हम लोग x का जो सीक्वेंस, x का जो पैटर्न और y का जो पैटर्न, दोनों में हम लोग देख रहे हैं कहां पे साइन चेंज हो रहा है. दैट मीन्स ईयर वाइज is the price increasing, and for the increasing price in the same year, is there any change in the demand, sign of the demand? I hope you are able to understand this. So आप देख सकते हो कि थर्ड कॉलम जो है उसमें we have found out the sign of deviation. Sign here means positive sign or negative sign, plus या minus. उसके बाद है डिमांड, नेक्स्ट वेरिएबल. फिर देखिए 1 2 3 4 फिफ्थ कॉलम पे देखिए डिमांड का भी हम लोग सेम चीज कर रहे हैं. डिमांड में देखिए एज डिमांड इज मूविंग फ्रॉम 35 टू 34. 1990 में डिमांड कितना है, 35. 1991 में देखिए डिमांड कितना हो गया, 34. यानी डिमांड घट गया है, डिमांड हैज डिक्लाइंड, डिमांड हैज रिड्यूस्ड. सो वी हैव पुट अ माइनस साइन. Again, you see in 1992, the demand is now increasing marginally from 34 to 35. We have put a plus sign. So ये जो थर्ड कॉलम और फिफ्थ कॉलम, ये केवल साइन का चेंजेस we are noting. Finally, लास्ट कॉलम में देखिए अभी ये डेविएशन जो हुआ है उसका प्रोडक्ट निकाला गया है. The deviation is shown by sign, plus sign or minus sign. Now, if you see the last column, please see. 1991 के अगेंस्ट में देखिए प्राइस का साइन क्या है, प्लस. डिमांड का साइन क्या है, माइनस. प्लस और माइनस मल्टीप्लाई करने से यू गेट माइनस. सो लास्ट कॉलम वी हैव गॉट माइनस साइन. नाउ इफ यू सी रैंडमली टेकिंग ईयर नंबर 3, 1992, प्राइस में प्लस साइन हुआ है, डिमांड में भी आप देखेंगे प्लस साइन हुआ. प्लस एंड प्लस गिव्स यू प्लस. Plus multiplied by plus gives you plus. In this way, last column is showing you all the deviations. Now, if you look at the formula of concurrent deviation, you will find the formula is 2c minus m by m. M means the number of pairs of deviation. यहां पे देखिए कितना पेयर हुआ है, 8 साल दिया है, लेकिन how many pairs of deviations are there? हम लोग डेविएशन मैपिंग वी आर डूइंग ओनली फ्रॉम 1991. आई रिपीट, वी आर स्टार्टिंग द deviation analysis only from 1991, यानी 1990 का next year. So how many pairs of deviations you are getting? 7. But the total number of years is 8. So number of deviation का जो pair, it will be 1 less than the number of years. So if n is 8, the number of pairs of deviation will be 7. If n is 15, number of pairs of deviation will be 14, n minus 1. Putting the value, and last if you see how many concurrent deviation. Last column पे गौर करिए, if you see, you are getting only 2 cases where we are having concurrent deviation. That means price may be जो change है, जो sign है, demand में भी वही sign है. अगर आप देखेंगे for the year 1992, the change in the price has a plus sign. The change in the demand also has a plus sign. That means यहाँ पे concurrent deviation. Concurrent means to meet, to agree. Okay, so this is the first example. Second scenario कहाँ पे है? Same sign if you see year number 4, यानी 1993 में देखिए, sign change for the price is minus and the sign change for the demand is also minus. So we can say that in year number 1992 and 1993, we can see both the signs are same. So what is, if you see what do you mean by C here? C shows the number of positive signs in the product of deviation column. That means number of concurrent deviation. In how many cases the signs are same? So we can see out of 7 pairs, only in 2 cases, we can see that the signs are same. Accordingly, we are putting the value C equal to 2 and M equal to 7, and we are getting the value of the coefficient of concurrent deviation, which comes to minus 0.65. Okay, so this is how we are arriving at the coefficient of concurrent deviation. Okay, Shamrin is asking 1990 में कोई साइन क्यों नहीं लिया? 1990 में कोई साइन हम लोग नहीं ले पाएंगे because it is the first year. First year में we don't know what is the first year. We are starting with we are actually having a starting price of 25. Changes will come only from the second year. Okay, जैसे मान लीजिए आज का तापमान आज का टेम्परेचर से मान लीजिए 35 डिग्री है. कल का टेम्परेचर अगर से 40 डिग्री हो गया, से आज 35 है, कल अगर 40 हो गया, then only for tomorrow we will put a plus sign because the temperature has increased with respect to today. Today is the starting point. इसीलिए 1990 है starting year. इसीलिए 1990 के पास beside 1990 there is no sign because it is the starting year. Sign will be plus sign or minus sign will be considered only from the next year because only then you can do the comparison. Okay, I hope you have understood this. So this is the analysis. Formula is easy, comparatively easy, लेकिन definitely you have to follow this analysis carefully so that you know conceptually कि भाई M क्या है, C क्या है. Total number of year is 8, but for number of deviation, why it is 7? That is why I was answering this question, explaining this question कि भाई why 1990 में sign नहीं लिया. Thank you, Shamrin. I hope you have understood. Okay. Now we come to the last parts. एक है correlation coefficient, explained variance and unexplained variance. We have already seen that coefficient of determination is basically equal to correlation coefficient का whole square. So if the correlation coefficient is say plus 0.7, so we can say that coefficient of determination will be 0.7 square. That is 0.49. Now the last formula of correlation, R square is equal to explained variance by total variance. So if I see that coefficient of determination is 0.49, that means 49%. This means that 49% of the variance or the variation has a reason, has a cause, उसका एक causation है, उसका एक basis है, उसका एक logic है. 49% का हम लोग account कर सकते हैं. बाकी unexplained amount is how much? 100% minus 49%, यानी 51% is the unexplained variance. So please remember that the coefficient of determination also shows you it is the ratio between explained variance and total variance. Okay, with this we move to the last part, which is regression analysis. Regression analysis, एक ही formula है. So in case of regression, we are on slide number 33, and we are now taking up the last part, which is smaller part as compared to correlation, because here we are looking at only one type of one formula, basic formula we will see, and that is regression coefficient. Purvi has a question. Spurious means what? Purvi, spurious means false, wrong, fake. So if I say there is a spurious relation, that means there is no actual relation. Spurious means fake, false, wrong, negative. Spurious has a negative meaning. Okay. So अभी हम लोग देखेंगे कि we will try to see. अच्छा, Mr. Kuldeep is joining. Okay, I hope technical team will got it, will admit hopefully. Okay. Now we will see regression analysis. मैं सबसे पहले there was a question from one of our dear student regarding mathematical relation क्या है. अभी आप देखिए मैं जो बता रहा था y equal to a plus bx. ये जो linear straight line का equation है. So आप देख सकते हो यहाँ पे. Now you see statistics, regression and geometry is all linked. That is the beauty of quantitative aptitude. Once you understand one particular concept, you can easily understand the other concepts क्योंकि सब कुछ related है. So यहाँ पे देखिए y equal to a plus bx. ये क्या है? It's the linear equation, यानी straight line का equation है, which all of you must have studied way back in your school, in maybe in class 9, 10, geometry. Now in statistics, we see that if x is the independent variable, say x is the revenue, we want to find out y and say y is the provision for doubtful debt. So when we know the sale figure, we can easily find out the provision for doubtful debt. If there is a mathematical relation, this relation between x and y is a mathematical relation because y equal to a plus bx, where a and b both are constants and b is the slope. Remember we did differential coefficient dy by dx. So b actually is dy by dx. Okay. Now we will see regression में हम लोग क्या करेंगे. We are trying to find out what will be the value of y once we know the value of x. Very simple example. आपके सामने है. Let's see the slide. We are on slide number 35. So let us see this particular slide. And you see here, एक छोटा सा क्लब का मैंने एग्जांपल लिया. एक स्पोर्ट्स क्लब, टेनिस क्लब है. ये क्या कर रहे हैं? They are charging $5 per hour plus a membership fee of $25. You have to find out the total cost of playing tennis for 10 hours in a month. So if you see here, x is how much? X is 10 hours. What is the function y equal to a plus bx, where a is constant. A is a constant amount. A is 25. That means आपको, आप टेनिस खेलते हो या नहीं, आपका एक फिक्स्ड कॉस्ट है जो कि $25 है पर मंथ. सो आपको ये फिक्स्ड कॉस्ट पे करना ही पड़ेगा इवन इफ यू डू नॉट प्ले टेनिस. अगेन इफ यू प्ले 40 hours in a month, still you have to pay $25, which is a fixed monthly member, or sorry, it's an annual membership fee. Okay, so we have taken annual membership fee. Okay, so it's a fixed cost sort of. So now we can see what is the cost of playing tennis for 10 hours. So what we are doing is we are just finding out the example here. We are taking the conceptual example, of course. We are taking constant is the A, and we also have the independent variable. independent variable here is x. X is 10. हर घंटा, every hour if you want to play tennis, आपको पे करना है $5 per hour. So this is like the slope dy by dx. Okay. So from this equation we can find out that the cost, just conceptually I am saying, the cost comes to fixed cost plus variable cost. Here if you can see, the variable cost comes to how much you have, you are playing 10 hours, so 10 into 5 yani 50 plus fixed cost 25, that is 75. So you can see ये जो y equal to a plus bx equation है, actually it is a regression equation. It is basically a linear relation between x and y. x और y के बीच एक straight line यानी linear relation है. Also from your earlier knowledge of fixed cost and variable cost, you can see this is an example where the total cost is a sum of fixed cost and variable cost. And here x is 10. X is the number of hours you are playing per month. So this is an example of regression where we are trying to predict what will be the total cost, but this prediction is only possible once you know the value of A and B plus once you have the value of X. X is a variable, of course. So accordingly, regression line, so as you saw, y equal to say a plus bx. Similarly, we can get two lines, y equal to a plus bx. Conversely, we can have x equal to a plus by. That means regression line of y on x, x के ऊपर regression line अगर हम लोग y का if you want to frame the line, regression line of y on x, this is equal to, equation is y equal to a plus bx. If we do the opposite, reverse, that means regression line of x on y. That means here y becomes the independent variable. X becomes the dependent variable. So the equation will become x equal to a plus by. So these are the two simple equations. Now we will see the formula, एक slope का formula. This is the straight line, y equal to a plus bx or ax plus b, whatever. This is the slope and the intercept. अभी जो formula है वो है b का formula, यानी coefficient of जो regression है उसका formula क्या है? That is the last formula in this chapter. So this b, because we saw that x you will know, independent variable will be given to you. You need to know the value of a and b because these are constants. In this equation y equal to a plus bx, b is the slope, b can be said to be equal to dy by dx, and b is definitely the coefficient of regression. It is defined as the coefficient of regression. Regression equation का जो coefficient है यानी b, इसका formula is given here. Simple formula. It is basically the correlation coefficient multiplied by sigma y divided by sigma x. So it is shown or written as b. If you see in the subscript, यानी छोटा करके जो नीचे लिखा है, b के नीचे छोटा करके लिखा है yx. It byx means it is the regression equation of y on x, और byx का मतलब क्या है? It is the regression coefficient of y on x. इसका वैल्यू क्या होगा? The correlation coefficient between x and y, जो हम लोग पहले in the first part of today's session we analyzed, correlation coefficient multiplied by sigma y divided by sigma x. इसका अगर reverse कर दे, that means if you are supposed to find out bxy, that means here the equation is becoming x equal to a plus by. That means here y is the independent variable, x is the dependent variable. यहां पे क्या हो जाएगा? bxy, it will be the reverse. Correlation coefficient r multiplied by sigma x divided by sigma y. So these are the last simple formula for regression. Now we will look at some of the, we will go to the last part and we will see the examples. First example we will see from the, this is from the chapter end examples, and then we will go to MCQs. So we are currently on slide number 44. Yes, we are on slide number 44 and we are starting with the examples. First question, compute the correlation coefficient between x and y when the following data is given. यानी हम लोग जो पहले देख रहे थे correlation coefficient, that is product moment correlation coefficient का formula क्या है? We know it is n into sigma xy minus sigma x into sigma y divided by the product of the two standard deviation. So here we know n equal to 10, sigma xy is given, sigma x square is given, sigma y square is given, plus sigma x, sigma y is given. मतलब x और y का जो permutation combination आप सोच सकते हो, x and y given. So sigma x निकालना है, sigma y निकालना होगा. The values are given. Sigma x square you need to know, sigma y square you need to know, and lastly you also need the value of sigma x into y. So once we put in all the values, we get the answer 0.91. This is formula number 1 for the Carl Pearson's coefficient of correlation, yani product moment correlation coefficient. Second question. This is on Spearman's rank correlation coefficient. बहुत important है these questions from the exam point of view. Because now we have completed the full discussion analysis of this interesting chapter. Lastly, we are looking at the exam type of questions which we can expect. So this question for a group of 8 students, the sum of the squares of difference is given as 50. What is the value of the rank correlation coefficient? एकदम एग्जाम जैसा इस तरह का क्वेश्चंस एग्जाम में आता रहता है. सो यहां पे क्या है, 8 दिया है यानी n is given, n equal to 8. Rank correlation coefficient, उसका फॉर्मूला we have written here, 1 minus 6 into sigma di square divided by n into n square minus 1. n is 8. Sigma di square is given. Please see, it says sum of the squares of the difference between the marks of mathematics and statistics. यानी di का square is given, sigma di square 50 है, n is equal to how much? N is 8. So putting the values of n and sigma di square, we are getting rank correlation coefficient का value comes to 0.40. The third question, again very critical for the exam. For a number of town, the question says, for a number of town, the coefficient of rank correlation between the people living below the poverty line and increase of population is 0.5. If the sum of squares of the difference is 82.5, find the number of town. So ये जो question है, इसमें आपको n का value निकालना है, यानी number of towns कितना है. आपको क्या दिया गया है, you are given the value of the rank correlation coefficient जो कि 0.5 है, और deviation का जो square उसका summation of the squares of the deviation in the ranks, that is sigma di square is given. So simple सा चीज है, हम लोग value we will enter the values. Formula we know that rank correlation coefficient is equal to 1 minus 6 into sigma di square divided by n into n square minus 1. n हम लोग को पता करना है. We are given sigma di square, so we have put the value of sigma di square 82.5 and we have equated it with the rank correlation coefficient which is 0.5. Solving for n, it comes in the nature of a quadratic equation, आप देख सकते हो. So once we solve for the value of n comes to 10. So here we can see that the value of n is 10, which means that number of towns is 10 in this example. Now we are taking a very interesting question, very appropriate for the exam. A similar question was requested by one of our students. He has raised this question also as a query. So I will solve his question also. But before that, let us see this particular question. Now this question says that while computing the rank correlation coefficient between profits and investment for 10 years, गलती से the difference in the rank for a year was taken as 7 instead of 5. Accordingly, जो रैंक कोरिलेशन कोएफिशिएंट का वैल्यू आया वो है 0.80. The question says what would be the correct value of the rank correlation coefficient after you rectify this particular mistake. यहाँ पे we can see let us try to see the facts of the case. Number of years, that is n equal to 10. It is given in the very first line of the example. Okay. So n equal to 10. Now we will see difference का जो summation वो निकालना है, लेकिन यहाँ पे हम लोग देख सकते हैं कि that one of the difference was taken as 7 instead of 5. That means from the given facts, let us try to find out sigma di square. You know n is equal to 10. Because it is given n equal to 10 और आपको वैल्यू भी दिया हुआ है द कोरिलेशन कोएफिशिएंट रैंक कोरिलेशन कोएफिशिएंट का वैल्यू इफ यू सी इज नथिंग बट हाउ मच 0.80. ओके अच्छा वन क्वेश्चन हैज कम लेट मी जस्ट टेक दिस व्हाई वी डू 10 into 10 square minus q n into n square minus 1 basically you are saying that is the formula. Denominator we have the formula for rank correlation coefficient is 1 minus 6 into sigma di square. जो numerator में रहेगा, denominator we have n into n square minus 1. That means if you multiply, basically you are getting n cube minus n. Okay, that is the formula. Derivation of the formula is outside our curriculum. You just need to remember the formula and apply it. So now here we see, यहाँ पे we are getting di square equal to 33. Please note that this di square is the wrong di square because in order to arrive at this di square, one of the difference was taken as 7 instead of 5. So उसको अगर rectify करना है, we have to find out the corrected di square. So in corrected di square, what we are doing, let me just go back. In the corrected di square, what we are doing, first we are taking the wrong di square, which is basically 33 जो कि we have found it out. यहां से जो गलत रैंक था यानी one of the rank was taken as 7, so उसको निकालना है, but the rank is di, उसका square निकालना पड़ेगा. So what we have done, 33 minus 7 square we have done. So we are removing the wrong observation, the wrong rank, plus we are doing 5 square because the correct rank, the correct difference should have been 5. So in this way, the corrected di square, sigma di square comes to 9. Abhi last step, rectified value of the rank correlation coefficient, therefore it becomes 1 minus 6 di square, 6 sigma di square. Sigma di square corrected value is 9. So numerator में देखिए 1 minus 6 into 9. नीचे क्या है? n remains 10. So 10 into 10 square minus 1. क्योंकि denominator में क्या रहेगा? n into n square minus 1. So we are getting the value, corrected value of the rank correlation coefficient, which is 0.95. Okay. Now we come to the MCQ from exercise 17, set A. We are taking first questions number 1, 7, 8 and 13. So चलिए हम लोग solve करेंगे. We are on slide number 48 now and we are taking up the first example, first question, जो कि है bivariate data are the data collected for what? Please see the 4 alternates. Bivariate data, we have done number of examples of bivariate data. For example, height and weight of students. Then say for example, the demand and the price of a particular commodity. यानी हर variable for every item, दो करके variable X or Y. So if you see question number 1, the best and the correct answer of course is option C, which says that bivariate data is collected for 2 variables at the same point of time, yani for the same identical period. So question number 1C. Okay. Yeah, many of our students have started the answering. Very good. We are now taking the second one, that is question number 7. Regression analysis is concerned with what? Regression analysis, agar aap, if you have carefully listened and observed the session today, you will definitely give the right answer that regression is concerned first with, first question is, what is the option given? Establishing a mathematical relationship between two variables, measuring the extent of association between two variables, and third point is predicting the value of the dependent variable for a given value of the independent variable. Now, question number 7, the most appropriate answer is option number D. D means both A and C option. So regression analysis में हम लोग regression equation भी निकालते हैं और उसके साथ साथ हम लोग prediction भी करते हैं. So option number D seems to be the most appropriate answer. Next question जो मैं discuss कर रहा था, what is spurious correlation? Okay. So spurious correlation जैसे मैं बता रहा था, spurious means wrong, fake. Okay. So spurious correlation means it is the correlation between two variables having no causal relation. So question number 8, option C. Okay. Now we come to the next question, which is number 13, correlation between shoe size and intelligence. So we cannot think of any positive cause या reason to justify if someone asks you कि भाई किसी का शू का साइज के साथ क्या उसका इंटेलिजेंस डिपेंड करता है, क्या ये दोनों चीज में कोई संबंध है, is there any relation between them? At least I cannot think of any relation. So we will say correlation between shoe size and intelligence ना तो positive होगा ना तो negative होगा, it will have a zero correlation. So we will say question number 13, I think, yes, we are doing. This is zero correlation, option A. We move to number 16 now. We will take the next lot. Pearson's correlation coefficient is used for finding what? We are taking number of questions here. Pearson's correlation coefficient यानी कार्ल पियर्सन का जो product moment correlation coefficient, इसका काम क्या है? Basically, if you see 16th question, it is only for finding linear relation. So 16th question, option B is the right answer. We move to 17th question. Product moment correlation coefficient is considered for what? First, I will say product moment correlation coefficient gives us the sign. क्या ये positive correlation है? Plus 0.6. क्या ये negative correlation है? Say minus 0.35. So, nature of correlation we get to know. And we also get to know the amount. So, question 17, I will go for both A and B. So option C is the right answer for question 17. Question 21, we are taking covariance between two variables is what? The covariance between two variables, if you see question number 21, it can be positive, it can be negative, it can be zero as well. Okay, so therefore 21st answer is number D. The next question we are taking up, 18th question. This is also important because we were discussing this question from the perspective of the scatter diagram. So 18th question is saying if the value of the correlation coefficient is positive. Positive means क्या होगा? The straight line, the scatter diagram क्या होगा? It will start from the lower left hand corner and it will proceed towards the upper right hand corner. So therefore, if you look at the options for question 18, option A पे गौर करिए, lower left corner to upper right corner. So I will go for 18A. Question number 29 we are taking when we are not concerned with the magnitude of the two variables, we consider what? So ये हम लोग देख रहे थे जब magnitude पे हम लोग focus नहीं करेंगे. That means we are not concerned about the magnitude, the size of the two variable. We are concerned only with the change in the sign, plus sign or minus sign. So 29th question we will take coefficient of concurrent deviation as the right answer. Question number 33, since blood pressure of a person depends on age, we need to consider what? Blood pressure depends on age. Please see carefully. इसको analyze करते हैं. 33rd question. यहाँ पे age जो है, अगर देखा जाए age is the independent variable, लेकिन blood pressure is the dependent variable. So regression equation will be here. X is age. Blood pressure is Y. Y. Y is the dependent variable. X है independent variable. सो 33rd क्वेश्चन जो है 33 नंबर क्वेश्चन का करेक्ट आंसर मेरे ख्याल से जो एज पर आवर डिस्कशन एंड कॉन्सेप्ट we have to find out the regression equation of blood pressure on age. That means y on x, right? So 33rd question, let us check whether our reasoning is correct or not. So we are taking the 33rd question. Option A is the right answer. Many of our students are giving the right answers. I thank each one of them for their efforts, and I hope you can now see the clarity and the beauty of this chapter. The last few questions we'll take. The regression line of y on x is derived by what? Okay, and also one more question. Okay, chaliye. Now numerical questions. 37th question we are taking. The regression line of y on x is derived by what? Now, by minimization of the vertical distances in the scatter diagram and the minimization of the horizontal distances in the scatter diagram. Regression line of y on x, if you see, that means ये scatter diagram के angle से आपको सोचना है. So basically, we are trying to reduce the vertical distance in the scatter diagram. Vertical distance जितना कम होगा, सोचिए, उतना points जो है, it will be less scattered. वो scatter कम होंगे, यानी वो एक shape में आ जाएंगे, वो एक straight line का shape में आएगा. So vertical distance has to be minimized. Then only we will get more or less a straight line form. We come to 41st question. If the coefficient of correlation is minus 0.9, coefficient of determination kitna hai? Very simple. We know coefficient of determination equal to correlation coefficient square. So if the correlation coefficient is minus 0.9, the coefficient of determination becomes minus 0.9 into minus 0.9. That means minus 0.9 square. So 0.81. So 41st question, option B is the right answer. Last one we have 42. So the question is, if the coefficient of correlation is 0.7, then the percentage of variation unaccounted. ये हम लोग लास्ट में देख रहे थे that if the coefficient of determination between two variables is 0.7, coefficient of correlation, sorry, that means the coefficient of correlation R is 0.7. So coefficient of determination will be 0.7 square, which is 0.49, yani 49%. This 49% is basically the explained variance. Question में पूछा गया है 42 question में percentage of variance which is unaccounted, yani unexplained variance, unaccounted variance will become 100 minus 0.4 minus 49%. That means 51%, yani 0.51. So 42nd question, option number C is the appropriate answer. Now the last few questions we are taking RTP 2025 ICAI CA Foundation revisional test paper, question number 25. Question number 25 says, you can see the type of questions in the RTP. If R is 0.8, then coefficient of determination is how much? Very simple question has come and we have discussed this. So if R is 0.8, we know coefficient of determination is the square of the coefficient of correlation. So अगर R 0.8 है, तो coefficient of determination क्या होगा? R का square, यानी 0.8 का square, जो कि 0.64. So option number A is the appropriate answer. Question number 27 पे चलिए. When R is 0, then covariance of x and y equal to what? So already we have seen that when, please think of correlation coefficient formula. क्या है formula? Formula R is equal to covariance xy divided by sigma x sigma y. Covariance xy divided by sigma x into sigma y. So अगर R 0 है, then covariance of xy has to be equal to 0. Covariance xy 0 है, इसीलिए correlation coefficient is coming to 0. Okay, so 27th question, very intelligent question, but it is a direct application of the formula. Option will be C, 27C. Next question we will see is the two lines of regression become identical when R equal to what? Now R जब 1 होगा, two lines of regression means regression of y on x and regression of x on y. दोनों लाइनें आइडेंटिकल तब होगा जब r इज इक्वल टू 1 या फिर जब r इज इक्वल टू -1, यानी जब पॉजिटिव कोरिलेशन है और जब परफेक्टली पॉजिटिव कोरिलेशन एज वेल एज परफेक्टली नेगेटिव कोरिलेशन. So when r equal to +1 and -1, then only the two lines of regression will become identical. So this is also काफी important question for your exam.
When r equal to 0, it is a perpendicular each other.
Yes, sir.
That is,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is also very quite interesting, and just what sir has explained very, very well, and just I want to interpret it in
Yes, sir.
another way, another option from the, we can take it if r equal to 0, it is perpendicular each other.
Perpendicular. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Very
Okay.
interestingly, sir, you are doing this.
Right, sir. Now, sir, we are taking the last few questions. We are now taking 91st question from the MTP. So as you can see, apart from the exercises in the chapter, for every session, I have tried to go through, I have tried to revise and solve the questions from the MTP RTP. So mock test paper, you will get a large number of questions. There is, I will say that unending questions. The more you do, the better will be your accuracy and confidence. So यहाँ पे हम लोग देखेंगे if 4y minus 5x equal to 15, this is the regression equation, regression line, and the coefficient of correlation is given 0.75. आपको निकालना है what is the value of the regression coefficient of x on y. So we know byx equal to correlation coefficient into sigma y by sigma x. यहाँ पे चाहिए क्या? Value of the regression coefficient of x on y. So this will be nothing but correlation coefficient into sigma x by sigma y. So if you just apply the formula, it is given 0.75. Also, if you see, we are given with the regression coefficient is given. So just by applying the formula, we are getting 0.45 as the answer for question 91. The 93rd question from mock test paper. If correlation coefficient R is between x and y is 0.5, then what will be the correlation coefficient between x and -y? So x and y का अगर correlation coefficient 0.5 है, then what will be the correlation coefficient between x and -y? Here just a change of sign. Okay, so here it will be -0.5. Option C is the right answer. 95th question. For a positive and perfectly correlated random variable, one of the regression coefficient is 1.4 and the standard deviation of x is 2, y का variance क्या होगा? So it is given that it is a positive and perfectly correlated random variable. The hint is hidden in the question. It is clearly mentioned in the question number 95 that it is a positive and perfectly correlated. Yani positive and perfect means what? The value of the correlation coefficient is +1. +1. Please remember. So you already know, this is 95th question. You already know that the the positively perfectly correlated random variable, one of the regression coefficient is 1.4. Now there is a formula which you have I'm surely gone through, that the correlation coefficient basically is equal to, that is correlation coefficient between x and y is equal to the square root of what? Byx into bxy. So here we can see that one of the regression coefficient is given, and from the standard deviation we can easily get the standard deviation of x is given, so we can get the variance of y, because we know that the formula of the correlation coefficient is, when we talk about the correlation coefficient and the regression coefficient means it is correlation coefficient into sigma y by sigma x. Here the correlation coefficient is given, it is absolutely +1. So we can find out the formula and apply it. We are getting 7.84. Now we come to 95th question. This is on coefficient of concurrent deviation, which we were analyzing earlier. यहाँ पे दिया है n is the number of pairs of observation. Coefficient of concurrent deviation is calculated, उसका value दिया है. यहाँ पे दिया है 6 concurrent deviation, n का value क्या है? ये है 95th question from the MTP 2025. We have to find the value of n. So I'm just trying to work it out. It is given, the formula you know is square root of 2c minus m divided by m. Here, please note that it is given the coefficient का value दिया है, it is 1 by root 3. So square root of 2c minus m by m is 1 by root 3. And it is given there are 6 concurrent deviation. 6 pairs of concurrent deviation, yani m equal to 6. So putting the value of m equal to 6 and putting the value of m equal to 6, and if you see that 6 concurrent deviation, sorry, here c is equal to 6. We have to find the value of m and then the value of n. Concurrent deviation here c is 6 and the coefficient of concurrent deviation is 1 by root 3. So question 95, we will see the working out is given on the right hand side of this slide. So formula we know is square root of 2c minus m by m. Here it is given that c is 6 क्योंकि concurrent deviation कितना पेयर में concurrent deviate हो रहा है, same sign हो रहा है, so 6. So c is 6. So 2c minus m divided by m, if I do, you are getting 2c equal to 2 into 6, yani 12. On the left hand side, you can see that the formula is given 1 by the value of the coefficient of concurrent deviation is given, which is 1 by root 3. So if you see the formula and now if you look at, if you equate both the left hand side and the right hand side, what you are getting is squaring both the sides, we are getting 12 minus m by m equal to 1 by 3. From there, if you transpose, you are getting m equal to 9. Yani number of pairs of deviation is 9. अगर 9 pairs of deviations are there, जिसमें से 6 are concurrent deviation. So if the total number of deviation is 9, that means the total number of observation has to be 9 plus 1, which is 10. So question number 95, the correct answer is 10. Lastly, we had one query from one of our students today morning. So I am taking that case. This question is regarding Spearman's rank correlation coefficient. And the question says that there is a beauty contest going on and there are 10 judges. 10 judges are there. And what has happened is when putting the rank for one particular contestant, the difference in the rank was taken as 3 instead of 7. The question is, please find the corrected rank correlation coefficient. So ये सुबह एक query आया था in the chat box. I'm solving it. So using the RCC formula, if you just put the formula and if you just put the values, so you can just work it out. You know that the formula for rank correlation coefficient, yani Spearman's rank correlation coefficient is 1 minus 6 into sigma di square, okay, into sigma di square divided by n into n square minus 1. Here we know n is 10. N is 10. Okay. So maybe, 10 contestants. Okay. Now the difference in rank di, ek jagah mein instead of 7, the difference was taken as 3. The corrected RCC आपको निकालना है. Now if you see, if you apply the RCC formula, the rank correlation coefficient was also given. We will see that given the facts of the case, we can find out first we are finding out the sigma di square, which comes to 165 by 2. I was just working out the problem. The rank correlation coefficient value was given as 0.5. But this 0.5 which is given in the problem, this is the wrong calculation. Matlab ye rank correlation coefficient 0.5 is coming after wrongly considering one of the difference as 3 instead of 7. Matlab this rank correlation coefficient 0.5 is not the corrected one. We have to find the corrected one. But we are given the formula, we know 1 minus 6 sigma di square divided by n into n square minus 1. Here n is equal to 10. Rank correlation coefficient is 0.5, which is given in the problem. So using this particular formula, you will find that sigma di square will come to 165 by 2. अभी क्या है, फाइनल एडजस्टमेंट आपको करना होगा क्योंकि यहां पे दिया है कि डिफरेंस इन रैंक टेकन एज 3 इंस्टेड ऑफ 7. 7 लेना चाहिए था लेकिन लिया गया है 3. सो टू फाइंड आउट द एडजस्टेड करेक्टेड di square, sigma di square we are getting 165 by 2, but this is the uncorrected. The corrected sigma di square, we are finding 165 by 2 plus 7 square, because 7 is the difference which should have been considered. लेकिन difference कितना लिया गया है? 3. So we have to do the correction in the sigma di square. Accordingly, 165 by 2 plus 7 square minus 3 square. So your corrected sigma di square comes to 122.5. Finally, the corrected rank correlation coefficient, if you apply the corrected value of sigma di square, it comes to 0.26 according to my calculation. And therefore, given the options, I think the student mentioned 4 options. So this is option number 1, probably in the numerical. So 0.26 is the value of the rank correlation coefficient, which is the corrected value. Okay. So with this, we come to the last slide. We see the recap. So we started by discussing about the concept and the meaning of correlation. बहुत काफी तरह का correlation के बारे में हम लोग चर्चा किए हैं. Positive correlation, negative. कहीं पे spurious correlation के भी हम लोग जिक्र कर रहे थे. We discussed about it. And then we gave and analyzed number of practical examples to show positive and negative correlation. Thereafter, you remember we discussed using the scattered diagram कि positive correlation, perfectly positive correlation, negative correlation and perfectly negative correlation scattered diagram के ऊपर दिखता कैसा है? How does it look? We discussed that. Then we covered in detail the very important 3 numerical formula for the Karl Pearson's product moment, Spearman's correlation coefficient, and finally the coefficient of concurrent deviation. And after that, we went to regression to understand both the concepts, regression equation of y on x and vice versa. Finally, we also discussed that the coefficient of correlation R is nothing but the geometric mean of the 2 regression coefficient. That means byx into bxy, जो product आएगा उसका अगर square root निकाला जाएगा, you will get the correlation coefficient. Finally, we did many of the questions from the exercise MCQ, RTP and the MTP questions. Plus, we solved one of the query which came from one of our students in the morning today. So with
Thank
this,
you, sir. Thank you very much, Arjit Chakravarti, sir. Very wonderful section, and the students are gained so much of MCQs, and with this will helpful for the examination point of view also. On behalf of the Board of Studies academics, and I would be thankful today for wonderful text section, and we will meet after lunch with another new topic like index numbers. That is also quite interesting.
yes, sir.
Welcome back again, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, students.
Thank you. Okay.
Technical team, you can close.
We can close.
Recording stopped.